Hi, everyone. My name is Will. I'm a 17-year-old senior in school from Winter Park, Florida, and I'm one of the student leaders fighting Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. Like many of you, thank you. Like many of you, I was thrown into activism and advocacy out of survival. Being outwardly gay and non-binary, I have faced bullying, harassment, discrimination, and threats to my safety almost my entire life. Being filmed at lunch, threatened in school bathrooms, and getting called slurs in the hallways was a daily occurrence for me at Winter Park High School. Go Wildcats. I reported everything I experienced to the administrators at my school and was met with only victim blaming and homophobia. Last October, my friend group and I attended a Halloween party where we were surrounded by a group of guys from my school. They hurled vile, unrepeatable, awful insults at us. We were told that if we did not leave, we would be beat up. After the school took no action, we formed the Queer Student Union with the goal of protecting other queer people from hate at our school and across the state of Florida. We went on to lead one of the biggest walkouts in Florida. At 9 a.m. on March 7th, 2022, 500 students walked out of class chanting, "We say gay," and "Trans Lives Matters." I stood in front of the same school that had me broken down so badly that last winter I almost ended my life and led a protest of hundreds. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to speak in front of such incredible people as yourselves. Everyone is here because they did something exceptional. You took the brave step of meeting with or testifying in front of legislators. You've organized walkouts or protests at your school or in your town. You got murals painted and brought beauty to somewhere that needed it. You've educated your peers, you've educated your schools, you've educated your communities, and the world is better for it. You have something to say, and we all need to listen. The more I became involved in advocacy work, the more clear my ultimate purpose of my work became. Yes, I want to stop the anti-education legislation and the attacks on my community. But what's the greater goal? Guys, we're living in an unusual time in history. For the first time ever, LGBTQ people are mainstream, and people in mass are questioning the legitimacy of religion. It's been strange growing up, seeing my classmates, family, and friends become addicted to their phones while watching every generation develop a different relationship with social media. For the first time ever, the average citizen is exposed to people, lifestyles, and cultures all across the planet, while at the same time an algorithm is putting people in echo chambers, allowing them to be radicalized by disinformation. We are at a turning point. Technological innovations are advancing more rapidly than ever, and our generation will be the populace that decides whether we will use our newfound power to finally align our planet and people, or whether we will allow it to destroy us. Will we use our ability to communicate to rise up and finally liberate those who have been oppressed in the United States since the beginning, or will we become a population under the complete control of machines and corporations? The flaws in our democracy have become more pronounced than ever as politics become a part of everyday life for Gen Z. We're being perpetually exposed to tragic news from all over the world, while influencers and internet personalities dramatize and fearmonger to an audience that already feels like the world is ending. It's stressful, to say the least. With the constant looming threat of climate change and school shootings and the downfall of American democracy, our generation has fallen into a mental health epidemic, and suicide rates are peaking. We're spending more and more time indoors on screens, and less time outside in the sun or connected with nature. And while all of this is frightening, it's what's going to light the flame of change now more than ever before. We don't want our kids to grow up the way that we did. So, if we act now and we organize right, I believe the chaos of the current day will reach a tipping point so that for the first time in human history, the entire planet will be aligned enough that distractions such as war, money, religion, and politics will cease to matter, and we'll finally be able to work together to understand why we're here and what the universe is. When I talk to adults in my life, I'm frequently told, "Oh, it never used to be this bad. I feel so sorry for you growing up in this time." It always used to be this bad and worse, but the world was not paying attention. But now anyone, including myself and all of you, can reach an audience and tell their story, and someone will be there to listen. And while no utopia can ever truly exist, through the responsible use of technology, we will reach the next step in our evolution as a species. Gen Z, we are at the forefront of this new frontier. So let us come together and fight for a world where peace is kept because we're peaceful and not because we're holding weapons of mass destruction over each other's heads. Let's create a world where the health of our planet and care for Mother Nature always comes first. Let's create a world where clothing holds no gender. It's a piece of fabric, guys. Let's create a world where nobody has to grow up fearing God because they were born queer. Let's create a world where students aren't constantly looking over their shoulders while trying to learn. Let's create a world where people are judged, not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Let's create a world where everyone has access to life-saving healthcare. Let's create a world where access to food, water, and shelter doesn't depend on your social or monetary status. Let's create a world driven by love. Let's create a world where true equality reigns. Guys, let's come together and create true peace on earth. Thank you, and I love you all.